Hey guys, this is Dan Dos Santos. Welcome to another book review. Today we're going to talk about Big Damn Hard Boiled by Geof Darrow. And you may know that name from Geof's more recent comics like Shaolin Cowboy, which is a super cool comic that's definitely worth picking up if you haven't already. But even if you don't recognize the name, you've actually probably seen Geof's work before and just don't know it. Geof has been in the industry for a very long time and has done a lot of concept art, from as far back as Super Friends in the 1980s to more recently all three Matrix films. But he's probably best known for two comics in particular. Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot, which was turned into an animated series, and this comic here, Hard Boiled, which was co-created with Frank Miller. Now Frank Miller, who created Sin City, is also an artist but doesn't have anything to do with the art in this book. Frank only co-wrote it. And the original story was a 3-issue miniseries from Dark Horse Comics, compiled into a graphic novel around 1992 or so. Shortly thereafter, they produced this version, Big Damn Hard Boiled, which is actually my favorite version of the story. And what it is an oversized book, really oversized, about 17 inches tall, aptly named Big Damn Hard Boiled, and it reproduces all of Geof's work at the size that he drew it. It also reproduces it without any color and without any dialogue, so you could just see these pages unadulterated. And if you're unfamiliar with Geof's work, he's notorious for putting an insane amount of detail into his pages. You know, every brick in the wall, every cigarette butt on the floor, every gun shell casing coming out of the gun is painstakingly attended to. These pages really are a labor of love. And you know, you can't get that when you look at the original graphic novel. It's half this size, and there's quite literally hundreds of people on a page sometimes, and you just lose all of that effect when you see it shrunk down. The original version is also in color, and I'd have to say I think I enjoy it more in black and white. The color adds a lot of legibility to things because they can control the viewer's eye. You always know where the hero is, whereas when there's no color, you don't know what to look at. So it kind of takes on this bizarre Where's Waldo-like effect. And when you don't know where to look, you end up looking everywhere. And the result is you kind of get lost in the pages and in the little details for an hour at a time. It took me a long time to read this book just because, you know, you get caught up looking at books on the shelf and every little thing. This world building is phenomenal. The story definitely has some adult themes, a ton of violence, maybe one of the most violent comics I've ever read. So if you're squeamish about that stuff, this book is not going to be your cup of tea. The story is really pretty cool, tons of over-the-top action. It's about a gunslinging, homicidal tax collector in the future. If you could imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator as a tax collector, that would almost be what Hard Boiled is. And like I mentioned, there's no dialogue in here. Admittedly, the original story didn't have that much dialogue to begin with anyways, but I really don't think it needs it. The story is so cinematic that it actually plays out like a silent film. And in retrospect, I actually think I enjoy it more without the words. I still think this would make a fantastic silent movie if somebody had the gall to do it. It's got a pretty cool ending, so I don't want to spoil too much for you. But I do want to show you some of the pieces here, kind of show you what you've been missing if you haven't got this book yet. Really wonderful sense of space, really taking advantage of how big these pages are. So again, Big Damn Hard Boiled by Geof Darrow. Original cover price is $29.95. Produced by Dark Horse Comics. Check it out.